Hi, I'm Jessica. Today we're going to review gerunds and infinitives. This video is specifically to help my students prepare for their test, but even if you're not in my class, you can definitely benefit from this video. In this video, you're going to learn some verbs that are followed by a gerund or an infinitive or both. If you don't know what is a gerund or infinitive, don't worry, I'm going to explain. Okay, let's get started. If you don't know what is a gerund, it's verb plus ing. For example, talking, moving, jogging, working. If you see the verb talk, then to make it a gerund, you add ing. So talking would be the gerund. Infinitive is going to be to plus the verb. So for example, we have to talk, to move, to jog, to work. So you have to plus the verb. These are what we call infinitives. In this video, I'm going to do some interactive practice with you. If you're my student, you're going to be doing an oral test. Oral test means speaking. So we're going to do some speaking practice throughout the video. Okay, remember a gerund is verb plus ing. Okay, so here's the list of verbs that are followed by gerunds that you need to memorize for your test. These are not the only verbs followed by gerunds, so if you want to see a complete list, then look at the description for this video and then check out those websites. So for your test, you need to know be good at, be interested in, dislike, enjoy, feel like, keep, look forward to, miss, suggest, and think about. Again, remember, these are not the only verbs followed by a gerund, but these are the ones, if you're my student, you need to know for your test. Remember, all of these verbs are followed by gerunds, verb plus ing. I'm going to give you an example of each one and then ask you a question. Be good at. Remember, be is the verb, so you can change it to am, is, are, or you can use past, was, were, future, or any tense you want. So you can change your be verb. An example of using be good at followed by a gerund would be I am good at cooking. Cooking is the gerund. She is good at playing the piano. Valley is good at math. If you see math as a noun, it's not a gerund. You can follow these phrases and these verbs with nouns or objects or gerunds. So you don't have to always follow a verb or a phrase with a gerund. You can follow it with a noun too. Anytime you use a phrase like this, be good at, you need to follow it with a gerund or a noun. Be good at, because of this preposition here, we're going to follow it with a gerund, not an infinitive. Okay, it's your turn to speak. What are you good at? So what you want to do right now is you can either pause the video and answer my question, or you can just say it and I will give you about 10 seconds to answer. So throughout the video, I'm going to ask you questions, that way you practice. So don't just think in your head, practice saying the answer aloud because you want to work on your English speaking. So let me ask you one more time. What are you good at? So you should begin your answer with I am good at, and then remember, follow it with a gerund. Yes, you can use a noun, but I want you to practice using gerunds. So follow at with a gerund. Next phrase you need to know, be interested in. I'm interested in studying French. Studying would be your gerund following interested in. Summer is interested in traveling abroad. Traveling would be the gerund. Mao Jun's interested in sports. Remember again, you can follow this phrase with a noun or a gerund. However, for me, remember I want you to practice with a gerund when you speak. So right now, I want you to use a gerund in your answer. What are you interested in? Dislike. I dislike cleaning the house. Tomas dislikes working overtime. Something to keep in mind here, even though dislike means don't like, it's going to be used differently. Dislike is followed by a gerund. However, if you use don't like or doesn't like, you can use it with a gerund or an infinitive. For example, she doesn't like doing homework or she doesn't like to do homework. But if you use dislike, you cannot say dislike to work overtime. You have to use a gerund, so you can only say I dislike working overtime. What is something you dislike doing? Enjoy. I enjoy trying new restaurants. Young enjoys skiing. Skiing and trying are gerunds. Yesterday, Vanessa enjoyed kayaking. Kayaking is also a gerund. What is something you enjoy doing? Feel like. I feel like eating sushi for dinner. Christine feels like going for a walk. 2 days ago, Hua Yong felt like quitting his job. Remember, after feel like you're going to use a gerund, this is what we call preposition combination. So be interested in, feel like, these all end with prepositions. We call them preposition combinations, and your phrasal verbs are also preposition combinations. So we always follow them with a gerund, or you could use a noun. What do you feel like doing tomorrow? Keep. Remember, keep means continue. So I keep working hard means the same as I continue working hard. Rose keeps studying English even though it's challenging. Wendy will keep living in California until she gets a new job. What is something you'll keep doing even though it's difficult? Look forward to. I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Johanna's not looking forward to working on Saturday. They're looking forward to buying a house. If you see in the second sentence, we have the word not. If you want to make the sentence negative, put not after the be verb here, Johanna's. If you're wondering why is it apostrophe s here, this is the contraction. This is the contraction for Johanna is. So many times when we speak, we will contract because it's faster. So I can say Johanna is not looking forward to, or Johanna's not looking forward to. You can also, if you want, contract the be verb with not. So right here you could say Johanna isn't looking forward to working on Saturday. So you can say Johanna's not looking forward to working on Saturday, or Johanna isn't looking forward to working on Saturday. What are you looking forward to? Miss. I miss living in Taiwan. Joyce misses working in Ecuador. Mike misses exercising at the gym. It's not the same after COVID-19. If you like to go to the gym, depending on where you live, it might be difficult now. Either the gym's closed down or maybe you have to exercise outside. So it's a different experience now. What do you miss doing? Suggest. If you go to Texas, I suggest eating barbecue. So you might see barbecue spelled out, or if you see BBQ, that also means barbecue. She suggested we eat barbecue, or she suggested that we eat barbecue. These last two are to show you that you can use an object like we and then just the base form verb. Or you can use that with the subject we and then verb. So it's all the same meaning. So I can use suggest followed by a gerund, suggest eating, or I can add a person and then put we eat, or I can use a that clause. She suggested that we eat barbecue. If I visit your country, what is something you suggest doing? Think about. I'm thinking about moving to a different state. Evelyn is thinking about getting a new job. Ken is thinking about trying something new. What are you thinking about? Those are all the verbs related to gerunds that I'm going to ask you on your test. But remember, that's not all the verbs or the preposition combinations that are followed by gerunds. So you want to, in the future, learn all of them and memorize them, but those 10 I will be testing you on. Okay, let's move on to infinitives now. Remember, an infinitive is to plus the verb. The verbs followed by an infinitive that you need to know for your test are ask, decide, learn or learn how, manage, need, plan, promise, refuse, want, and would like. All of these words are going to be followed by an infinitive. Let's start with ask. Sylvia asked to leave early. If you see after asked, we have to leave, which is an infinitive. Another example is, the teacher asked a student to close the door. If you want, after ask, you can have an object. So if you see a student, that's an object, you can say asked a student and then the infinitive to close. Another example is, Rob asked Amy to marry him. Asked, then object Amy, and then the infinitive to marry. What is something you asked? Or you can answer, what is something you asked someone to do? Decide. I decided to change my major. To change is an infinitive. Jerry decided to postpone moving. If you see here, I highlighted postpone. It's because decided is the main verb after Jerry. When you use decide, you need to have an infinitive. So to postpone is the infinitive. But now we have postpone, which is another verb. After postpone, you should use a gerund. So that's why we have moving, postpone moving. In one sentence, you can have an infinitive and a gerund, or two infinitives, or two gerunds. It depends on what verbs you're using. What is something you decided to do? Learn or learn how. I want to learn to play mahjong. Or you can say, I want to learn how to play mahjong. If you don't know mahjong, it's this game here. He's learning how to ride a bike. To play and to ride and to learn are all infinitives. Want should be followed by an infinitive. So here we have to learn or learn how. After learn or learn how, you also are going to use an infinitive. So in this sentence, we have two infinitives. What is something you want to learn how to do? Just so you know, you don't need to answer with to do. You are going to replace this with a different infinitive, so you don't need to use to do. You can say, I want to learn how to drive a car. I want to learn how to speak French. I want to learn how to play tennis. So you don't say, I want to learn how to do play tennis. You're going to take off do, replace it with a different verb. Manage. This word does not mean manage like the manager manages the store. This manage here is a different meaning. It means to succeed in doing something difficult, especially after trying hard. For example, they managed to escape the fire. It was difficult to escape the fire, but they were successful in doing it. To escape would be the infinitive here. Although it was difficult, Nancy managed to pass the test. Even though the Rays are a good baseball team, the Dodgers managed to beat them. If you watched the World Series this year, in 2020, the Dodgers won the World Series. What is something you managed to do? It may have been difficult, but you were successful in doing it. The next word is need. She needs to study more. After need, use an infinitive. Here, to study is the infinitive. We need to start packing. What is something you need to do? Plan. I plan to travel to Japan next year. Max plans to open a new business. Remember, if you use plan on, that's a phrasal verb. And after phrasal verbs and prepositions, you're going to follow it with a gerund. So if you use plan on, it should be with a gerund. Example, I plan on telling her tomorrow. However, if you just use plan, you want to use an infinitive. For example, I plan to tell her tomorrow. I plan to tell. I plan on telling her tomorrow. Do you see the difference? What do you plan to do this year? Promise. I promise to love you forever. Tracy promised to call her mom. Kenny promised his kids to exercise more. So if you've seen this last one, if you want to put an object after promise before the infinitive, you can. So promised his kids to exercise more. What is something you promise someone? Refuse. If you refuse something, you say no. You say no to something that you have been offered, or you say you're not willing to do something. For example, she refused to accept his apology. He refuses to change seats. Laura is stubborn and refuses to ask for help. What is something that you've refused to do or take? Want. Cindy wants to improve her English. Louis wants to move to Austin. I want my kids to have good manners. If you want to use an object, you can put it after want. I want my kids, that's the object, to have good manners. To improve, to move, to have are all infinitives. What is something that you want to do? Okay, the last one is would like. Would like is the same as want. I would like to buy a new car. This is the same as I want to buy a new car. He'd like to have a girlfriend. He would like, if you want to contract it with the apostrophe D, it would be he'd, he would like, he'd like. Fengti would like to work less hours. What is something you would like to buy? There are some verbs that can be followed by either an infinitive or a gerund and have a similar meaning. For your test, there are 3 that you need to know: hate, like, and love. For like and love, you need to remember if you use would like or would love, they're only followed by an infinitive. So if you say, I would like to buy a house, you can't say, I would like buying a house. Same with would love. I would love to meet your parents. You can't say, I would love meeting your parents. So for would love and would like, only use them with the infinitive. However, if you say like or love, those ones you can use either an infinitive or a gerund. Hate. I hate waking up early. Daisy hates to wake up early. So you can use either an infinitive or a gerund. To wake or waking. Both are okay. What is something you hate doing? Like. I like teaching online. Celine likes to take online classes. Again, we can use a gerund or an infinitive. Like teaching or likes to take. What is something you like doing? Love. I love learning about other cultures. Jenny loves to drink green tea. With love, you can also use a gerund, learning, or an infinitive, to drink. What is something you love doing? Okay, let's talk about verbs with infinitive but without to. So this would be like the base form verb. When you use make, let, or help, you're going to use make, let, help plus object plus base form verb. For your test, you need to know make, let, and help. So the structure you're going to use is make, let, or help plus the object plus base form verb. Remember, base form verb means without to, without s, without ed, without ing. It's just the base form. So you need to know make, let, and help. Let me show you how we use these. For make, we use this to mean to cause someone to do something or to force someone to do something. I made my kids eat their vegetables. In this sentence, it means I forced my kids to eat their vegetables. They didn't want to, but I forced them to eat them. If you see, we have made, which is the past tense for make, object, my kids, and then base form verb, eat. Don't say I made my kids to eat their vegetables. That's wrong because we don't use an infinitive, we're using the base form verb. Also, don't say I made dinner. You can say that, but this is not the same make. The make here means to force someone to do something or to cause someone to do something and have a result. This I made dinner means that you cook dinner and you can make something with your hands, but that's a different meaning. If you say she yelled at Sam and made him cry, this means that she caused Sam to cry. What is something that someone made you do? Let means to allow or permit someone or something to do something. You can think of it like giving someone permission to do something. I let the students leave early. This means I allowed the students to leave early. Let plus the object and then leave the base form verb. Let them go. That will be another example. Let, object, and then go. She doesn't let them play outside after dark. If you want to use a negative word like not, you're going to put it before let. You can say doesn't let, past tense didn't let, wouldn't let, won't let. All of those will go in front of let. So not, then let, then object and base form verb. What is something you would let your kids do? Remember, let means allow. So what is something you would let or allow your kids do? If you don't have any kids, just pretend. If you have kids in the future, what's something you would let them do? The last one that you need to know for your test will be help. I will help you improve your English. Help, then the object you, and base form verb improve. Jamie helped Jason move into his new apartment. Or Jamie helped Jason to move into his new apartment. So help is a special one. You can either do help, object, and base form verb, or you can do object plus infinitive. So we can say help Jason move or help Jason to move. Both are okay and they have the same meaning. What would you help your best friend do? Okay, so that's it. You should keep practicing. Remember, after keep, you use a gerund. So you can go to my website, www.jessicainthevone.com, and I have some links to some websites you can use for gerunds and infinitives, and I have more practice materials and other things that you can use to improve your English. And if you're in my class and you're preparing for your tests, just keep studying and practicing and you'll be fine. Okay, everyone, good luck and take care. Stay safe and healthy. Bye.